to this online session from Stockholm, Sweden, where we will try to uncover some of the secrets behind the Swedish tech wonder, and we'll talk about how new technology drives sustainability and what challenges lie ahead. So today we will introduce you to 4 representatives of the Swedish high-tech crossroads, where transportation meets innovation. Because we do seem to have a unique ecosystem for innovation and startups here in Sweden. Thanks to companies such as Spotify, Skype, King, iZettle, Mojang, and Klarna, for example, our capital, Stockholm, has become a global tech and startup hub. But are some of these resources behind this growth, are they starting to dwindle? Is this honeymoon maybe over soon? So, we have invited 3 keynote speakers. And their common denominator is finding sustainability through technology, through transportation, through electrification and automation. That's a lot of syllables for a non-native speaker. Now, first up is Jonas Almeling. He is Director of Innovation at the telco giant Ericsson. They have an internal incubator called Ericsson One. And after Jonas, we will listen to Niklas Reinedahl. He is from the freight industry challenger Einride, and they specialize in electric and self-driving vehicles, the Einride pods. And they are much needed in this emission-heavy transportation industry of today. Thirdly, we will meet Stefan Ytterborn, and he will tell us why his e-bike company, Cake, will turn the old-fashioned world of motorcycles upside down. After these keynotes, this will be followed by a panel discussion, and we will be joined by Ariane Pousette, and she helps startups grow through Stockholm's city's own official authority, Invest Stockholm. They help businesses with promotion and support. So we're going to dive right into these keynotes. Full transparency, they've been pre-recorded, but only moments ago. It's practically live on tape. Now, please make sure, if you're watching, to think of some questions for the panelists that I believe you can type them into the box next to the video player window. Thank you. Right, so Ericsson One is an internal incubator and accelerator for Ericsson employees, where they work for new business ideas and outside or together with Ericsson. The idea is to build successful ventures in addition to the bread and butter business of Ericsson. Now, Ericsson One is a team of experts in many different areas. They provide practical coaching and support and advice. So, let us watch Jonas Almeling, the Director of Innovation, Ecosystems and Partnerships, tell us more about Ericsson One.
Thank you very much, Karin. Super exciting to be here with you guys and to talk about what Sweden is doing in the world of digitalization, sustainability and innovation. I come from a background of working for over 10 years with the startup ecosystem in Sweden, and for the last few years I've now been working with Ericsson, one of Sweden's oldest companies, and a company that's been extremely important to the development of the Swedish ecosystem, but also in the world. So let's go back in time a little bit. Ericsson was founded by Lars Magnus Ericsson, and it was founded on the knowledge that communication is a basic human need. Today, Ericsson's role is to empower an intelligent, connected, and sustainable world. And this is something that we have in common with every startup and every person in Sweden as well. Something most people don't know about Ericsson is that we've actually been operational in more than 100 countries for more than 100 years. Not a lot of companies can say that today. Ericsson is today a world leader in information communication technology, and we are building the innovation platform of the world, 5G. Something that many companies coming out of Sweden, many startups, Einride included, is dependent on to have an impact and to create a sustainable future for us all. But at Ericsson, we are also trying, testing and building new products and services for this sustainable connected world. And the part of Ericsson where we do this is called Ericsson One, and that's where you find me. I'm responsible for partnerships and ecosystem there, which means that I am in direct connection with the organizations, the users, the people whose problem we are trying to solve. At Ericsson One, that's where ideas are made, and that's what we're trying to do with 100,000 employees and the 140-year-old Ericsson that we have. At Ericsson One, we believe that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of great ideas within Ericsson just waiting to be unlocked. By unleashing this superpower, we can shape the future of Ericsson and change the world for the better. To succeed, we need to unlock our intrapreneurial power. Ericsson One was created to do just that. But the story of Ericsson is also closely connected to the story of Sweden. And today we're here to talk about what is in the secret sauce of the Swedish tech ecosystem. And to do so, we actually need to go back 200 years in time, even before Ericsson was founded. Because Sweden as a country is one of the few, maybe the only country in the world, who's had peace for more than 200 years. What does that mean for a Swedish entrepreneur? Well, that means that nowhere in the world can anyone remember Sweden as an enemy. We are the friends of everyone. Fast forward to about 50 years ago, when telecommunication was coming into the world. Sweden and Ericsson built an infrastructure to connect the Swedish society, the Nordic society, with state-of-the-art technology. Even 100 years ago, Stockholm was the most connected city in the world because we had handsets, more handsets per capita than anywhere else. In the 90s, we equipped every home with a PC, and we started connecting everyone to the knowledge available on internet. Today, almost every child in Sweden uses internet daily. 50% of the 2 to 10-year-olds actually create content on internet on an almost daily basis. What does this mean? Well, this means that not only do we have the capacity to build new digital solutions, we can also test them. This is, to a large extent, why Stockholm and Sweden was dubbed the Unicorn Factory. This is why companies like Skype and Spotify could grow up here. They not only had the talent to build the companies, but they also have the market to test it. And Sweden and the Unicorn Factory continues to build successful companies. Latest example is Northvolt, building a battery factory up in the northern parts of Sweden. In Sweden, we continue to build successful companies, digital companies, but also sustainable companies. We are doing so at Ericsson. Startups and tech companies are doing so. And we're inviting you guys to come with us. Thank you very much.
So, Jonas, what is intrapreneurial?
Intrapreneurial, well, compared to the entrepreneurial, it's fairly similar, but you're building a business and a company inside another company, and on the base of that, compared to the resources you have on the outside of a company, where you start from the scratch, basically.
Right. So you mentioned Stockholm as a unicorn factory. And Unicorn being a privately held, preferably innovative startup company valued at over $1 billion US, right? So would you say that Ericsson was the first Swedish unicorn about 100 years ago?
Well, I can't say that I know anything about that, but I would definitely say that if you would value Ericsson at that time in sort of the equivalent of money, being a company that's been in 100 countries for more than 100 years, absolutely, I would definitely say so. It's at least been as important for Sweden as some of the unicorns are today.
Ariane Pousette, you work with startups and innovation at Invest Stockholm, which is the official investment promotion support agency for businesses here. So you're saying that you want Stockholm to be the impact unicorn factory. What do you mean by that?
So we've been talking about the unicorn factor for a long time, since outside Silicon Valley we have most unicorns per capita. And a couple of years ago, we have Norwegian and other fantastic people in the tech ecosystem. We discussed what do we really want to do, and Stockholm wants to lead the change in the world. And what we mean with an impact unicorn is a company that makes a change for 1 billion people instead of making $1 billion or to be valued for $1 billion. And I think that's a great aspect of, a leading star to look up to think that we really are thriving with the impact companies and want to lead the way of changing the world to a better place.
Right. And Norwegian, meaning Nordic Light, is an accelerator of sorts. It's started by a founder of Klarna.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something that really shows how the ecosystem works. People reinvest their money to help new entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And
social entrepreneurship, basically, in the focus.
Or impact technology that can change the world in some way.
So we're going to get back to that, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we're going to head on. We're going to watch Einride. Einride is a Swedish technology and transport company based in Stockholm and Gothenburg that specializes in electric and self-driving vehicles. They are called the Einride pods. So this should be the beginning of eco-friendly transport, claims Niklas Reinedahl, who is General Manager North America for Einride. So let's watch.
Thank you, Karin. Today I want to talk about everyone's favorite, super exciting topic, freight and logistics. I know, try to contain your excitement. Frankly, freight transport is amazing. In many ways, it's the backbone of the global goods economy and is more heavily relied upon than ever before. Recent years have seen the world shrink, with shorter shipping times over greater distances, and more goods being moved than at any point in human history. And the pandemic has amplified the need for this sort of rapid and reliable global transport to move medical supplies and vaccines. It has also underscored how flexible such a complex supply chain can be in such a short period of time. But here's the thing, freight transport is also unsustainable. As you can probably imagine, road freight is incredibly harmful to the environment. It accounts for over 7% of global CO2 emissions, which is the equivalent of over 11 million barrels of oil per day. And those figures are growing and expected to double if nothing changes. Diesel emissions are also detrimental to urban respiratory health, with transport as the #1 contributor of harmful NOx emissions, leading to many cities implementing bans on diesel vehicles in the coming years. And road freight is dangerous, with over 4,000 road deaths in the US alone, involving heavy trucks per year. The number of fatalities for truck drivers has increased by over 50% in the last 10 years, and over 30% for other road users involved in heavy vehicle accidents. Beyond the big scary numbers, transport as it exists today is built on inefficiencies. It requires shippers to bear the effect of the stresses that the system experiences, calling for more trucks, more drivers, more raw materials, and more risk in order to keep up with the rapidly increasing demand. We see poor capacity utilization due to empty returns, unsynced resting schedules, unoptimized routing, and average fill rates way below 50% for each shipment. This, unsurprisingly, leads to driver shortages and other ripple effects throughout the supply chain. The value chain and business models are based on legacy technologies, and the rate of digitalization is significantly behind those of other industries. Faxes, paper waybills, and rigid schedules are still common, while the rest of the world has largely moved on. Einride began as an answer to a fairly simple question. If you had the ability to redesign our freight system from the ground up with new technology, how would you do it? If you've heard of us before, you've probably seen the pod. It's the world's first fully autonomous and electric heavy transport vehicle to operate on a public road. More importantly, it's a true north for what we believe the future of transport to look like. Driverless, zero emissions, and happening as we speak. But it's only one part of the equation. Today we operate a significant fleet of heavy-duty electric trucks, covering over 100,000 electric kilometers and saving nearly 100 metric tons of CO2 in less than 6 months with only one of our customers. That's a reduction of over 93% compared to diesel, and it's done cost competitively. With autonomous technology like the pod, scaled based on actual use cases in transport, and without the need for a driver on board, we can improve the sustainability and cost case exponentially, increasing fill rates, lengthening operational hours, dramatically reducing road deaths, and creating new job opportunities through remote operation and oversight. Unavoidably, introducing these technologies to an already complicated global transport network will result in new complexities. On top of current logistics considerations, shippers and carriers will have to account for state of charge, battery health, even whether or not the air conditioning is on for electric trucks. Add autonomous vehicles to the mix, and the level of complexity grows exponentially. This has the potential to increase inefficiencies if not implemented in the right way. So what's the solution? An intelligent digital infrastructure specifically designed to manage the transition and to operate these technologies at scale. With our freight mobility platform, we are rethinking how transport is operated, designing it to work specifically with electric and autonomous vehicles, and to reduce inefficiencies as much as possible on every single route. This new model for transport would actually scale back the overall market size for shipping, requiring fewer vehicles and fewer resources to perform the same job. Naturally, there are some who won't be happy with this, but the overall result is a significant improvement for society at large, as well as everyone in the value chain. Shipping costs can be cut in half, emissions can be effectively eliminated with the help of a clean energy mix, and road deaths in transport can become a thing of the past, while trucking becomes a more attractive and hospitable profession. With intelligent, autonomous and electric transport, we're excavating fewer materials to fuel and build our vehicles, freeing up space on our roads and in our cities, and cleaning up our airways. It's a solution that benefits everyone in society across the board in ways that are both critical and convenient, sustainable and business friendly. So if this industry is so ripe for disruption, what's next? A transformation of this size and scale is a team effort. At Einride, we're doing our part, crafting a strong vision for the future of transport, rethinking existing business models, and delivering solutions that make it happen. But we rely on collaborative partnerships to drive innovation in the areas that will be crucial for the adoption of this technology. Our collaboration with Ericsson will drive the development of the 5G network necessary for the pod to operate and to support connected vehicle technology. Developing high-quality electrified products that are built to last alongside other Swedish innovators like Cake will continue to increase the profile of these solutions with a wider audience and draw attention to what's needed to make electrification happen on a massive scale. And crucial hardware and software partnerships, like we have with Siemens, give us the capability to scale our technologies quickly and with precision and grow the necessary charging infrastructure to support the transition. Autonomous and electric freight is one of the biggest business opportunities in the history of mankind. We have the rare chance to build something that touches nearly every aspect of society in a positive way, cleaner, safer, more equitable, and more efficient. But this is a team sport. To truly transform one of the world's most important industries, we need everyone on board. Consumers to demand more sustainable solutions, shippers to make the leap to intelligent freight, and like-minded partners and peers to accelerate the transition. Let's drive this change together.
Niklas, how did you change shirts so fast?
That's a tech secret that we have. No, our boss wants us to be healthy, so I had to fit in a session at the gym in between.
Right, some push-ups. Good. So you were calling for collaboration in this keynote. Can you explain?
Yeah, I mean, at Einride, we try to do our part in terms of enabling technology for moving goods on our roads in a more safe, efficient and sustainable way. But that technology in itself is dependent on a new type of infrastructure, specifically a good grid performance, charging infrastructure, as well as connectivity. I think the good news is that that type of technology is available. We're supporting it in terms of enabling the business case for it, but now it's time to sort of pitch in as a greater society to enable a better way of moving goods.
So we're going to talk about those obstacles in a little bit. Thank you so much, Niklas.
Absolutely.
So we're going to move on from eight-wheelers to two-wheelers. Cake is an electric bike company selling e-bikes, models for city slickers and for backcountry enduro riders as well. So this company was founded with the idea of obliterating emission villains. And Stefan Ytterborn, he is the founder and CEO of Cake. This entrepreneur previously founded smash hit brand POC that makes helmets for alpine sports or for mountain biking. And now we're going to see if Cake will make the motorbike industry disruption a cakewalk.
So what is Cake? Well, someone would, potentially guess that this is a company which is being run by motorcycling geeks. Of course, we got motorcycling competence within the company, but to be frank about the whole situation, I'm pretty much a motorcycling hater from the beginning. I've had to learn to ride motorbikes. I've had to learn about combustion motorbikes, and now we're developing, high-performance electric motorbikes. What got to me when I first encountered an electric motorbike was basically the fact that this is going to flip the whole motorcycling space upside down, because all of the traditional aspects of macho, roary, aggressive, tinkery, dirty and whatever, excluding at least, is being replaced by something which is including. It's super clean, it's easy to ride, and it's going to solve a number of the issues that we have in terms of transportation down the road. So I started getting everything there is in terms of electric motorbikes in the market like 5 years ago. I've had 16 or 17 bikes, trying them all out together with hundreds of friends. And what came to me was that no one was really trying to optimize the character of the actual vessel in conjunction with the electric drivetrain. Everyone was basically just swapping the combustion engine with an electric drivetrain, and that is not really the way I believe one should go to get the vessel or the motorbike to the level it could aim for. And it came to us that the concept was different to that, and the ambition would be to build as light as possible. So we went the other way, and our bikes are nearly half the weight compared to an equivalent combustion engine bike, and it really serves the riding experience and battery endurance and whatever it might be in an amazing way. So we've been in the market now we launched in 2018 the limited edition, and eventually getting to the market with production series bike from March in 2019, so pretty much a year and a half. And what we're doing is basically defining what we do as a new category, light, quiet and clean. And starting in the off-road side of things is just the beginning of a journey going forward, because we know that the lion part of our bikes will be ridden as commuter vessels in urban situations, while we develop our competence and know-how and so forth in the backcountry, because that's really where quality is being measured. So that's why we're in this business, basically, together with the other potentially even more important aspect of things, and that's our mission: to inspire the market towards zero emission by combining excitement with responsibility. And that's also a reason to be in the backcountry, to really support the joy of riding these bikes together with sharing the space with others without disturbing, without polluting, whether it's wildlife or fellow mushroom pickers or whatever it might be. So in that sense, it has a really kind of empathic or sympathic kind of sharing space, mutual respectful platform to develop from. We can, there's no way of cheating or compromising when it comes to these topics. We need to be 100% clear about that the path towards zero emission is going to need patience. It's going to take us a number of years to get to the point where we actually achieve what we need to achieve. And one aspect of this is, of course, the battery cells, and being able to work together with Northvolt, developing super quality, and at the same time, within the fossil-free concept. And there are additional things that we need to work with when it comes to sustainability, not at least, the making of things, the choice of materials, the recycling of materials in general, and so forth. Getting to the next level, speaking or referring to what I said before, so the backcountry off-road motorbikes that we've been, addressing so far, it's just the beginning of a line of products which is actually hitting the market at full force in 2021. So we're developing different platforms with different, user needs in mind, and that will support these different users and their needs for transportation. So in that sense, there will be additional 2 platforms being launched in 2021, and on par with our ongoing development in the off-road premium aspect of things. You will see bikes that will support, I'd say that all our bikes are actually, they have off-road capabilities, but the more urban-oriented commuter bikes are not meant to do double flips or jump 30 meters, but they do support, I'd say, current and future needs of transportation and what to bring, no matter what your working place would be in that sense, and taking a big step towards the transition infrastructurally, transportation-wise, and so forth in cities around the world. So that's our main take on what we're doing. Thanks for having us.
Right, so Stefan, I'm not an engineer, but I have a technical question. Right, so as far as I understand the drivetrain, that's the system of components such as the transmission, the wheels and so forth, that will push the vehicle forward from its power source.
Yeah.
So be it the engine or the battery or whatever. So now, you make a point of this optimization of an electric drivetrain. What do you mean?
Yeah, basically, it's about making a chassis which is connecting to the character of the electric drivetrain, and that's building as light as we possibly can, instead of just repeating what has been done within the motorcycling industry, with the gasoline engine or drivetrain being the what has been the chassis that needed to be supported.
So we talk about disruptive business models. Is this like disruptive engineering? You kind of like
I would say that no, it's a logic way of dealing with.
It's just harder.
There's a number of reasons why this is actually happening. I'd say that the motorcycling industry itself is extremely traditional from a number of different, for many different reasons. And in this case, it's taking basic knowledge and bringing it to relevancy.
Why is it better to do this?
Because, for instance, we're able to charge our motorbikes by using 2 standard solar panels without ever, sapping the grid. So, in terms of efficiency and sustainability, it's a wonder.
Does it impact the weight of the bike?
The whole concept is about minimizing the weight of the bike to reduce the number of battery cells needed to actually move this vessel forward. So that's the actual take on renewing and optimizing the chassis for the drivetrain.
So, Jonas, there is a solid engineering tradition in Sweden. We have big employers such as Volvo, Scania, Ericsson. You're talking about this Swedish sort of strong connection to values and purpose. So, can you expand on that?
Absolutely. The Swedish society, for the last 50-somewhat years, or actually after World War II, is really based on a number of shared values, solidarity, for example, and the access to free education and to development, and access to same conditions to develop yourself. So this is something that is now sort of built into the Swedish soul. Another part is that we're closely connected to nature. We have allemansrätten, the right to use nature, which is also very connected to the Swedish identity. And that means for us, sustainability, for example, is something that is close at heart and close to the Swedish identity. And hence it comes natural for us to build sustainable companies.
So, Niklas, you have worked at Volvo previously. Did this foster this sense of impact or purpose with you?
Yeah, so I want to answer that in 2 aspects. One is that, that culture spurs great engineering capabilities. And looking at Einride, we're benefiting from that. We have engineers from traditional Swedish engineering companies, Volvo, Scania, Ericsson, ABB. We're combining that with new Swedish type of engineering capabilities, which are more platform-focused. And combining those 2 engineering disciplines, fostered by the Swedish culture, makes it an excellent place to drive a business like this.
So how do you work with this when you recruit talent, young talent?
So I think young talent today, so the other aspect of the answer to that question is that the traditional type of industrial engineering and business models, new technology calls for new type of business models. And I think specifically at Einride and several of the companies up here today, quite impact driven. You want to do something that have a positive impact on the environment, on the society, but also with good economics. So I think that in itself, being able to be impact-driven, combined with good economics for everyone engaged, I think it sort of enables you to recruit great people. And in the end, great people are building great companies.
So Ariane, when we talk innovation, it's easy to just get into the technology of everything and the high tech, but I know that you have commissioned a report on the creative industries of Stockholm. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so obviously we're known for our fantastic scene and the fantastic startups and scale-ups that we have in the city. But, before you become an engineer, or while you become an engineer, you might have played an instrument or done something. As I mentioned before, the Coke bottle was designed in Sweden by Samuelsson. So I think the combination of a creative population with a well-educated population like these engineers, you get fantastic new startups coming up. So I think that it's easy to forget how important the creative and cultural industries are for a city and how they foster the new generation of startups to come.
So we're starting to discover some of the ingredients in this sort of secret sauce of the Swedish high-tech wonder, if you will. So we're talking the engineering tradition, the mechanical focus, and also the collaborative sort of Swedish personality.
And I think not to forget the sustainable values that we all share in this country with gender equality, with flat hierarchies. I could probably walk up to Stefan or Niklas and say, I have a great idea, and they would listen to me, even if they don't know me. And I think they would do it with all their apps.
So I was going to ask you whether you guys thought that innovation drove sustainability, but now you're saying that sustainability values are actually driving innovation. Do you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the drive for innovation is being comfortable with changing, and it's also driving for change. And there needs to be purpose in that. You need to really, really have a deep sense of purpose to drive change and to be able to sustain change. So, absolutely.
So at Ericsson One, do you have any other examples of fruitful, purpose-driven startups or ideas you can mention?
Well, I mean, at Ericsson, what we do is that Ericsson builds a platform for startups and companies to thrive. So the greatest examples coming out of Ericsson is definitely companies like Einride, who builds sustainable solutions on top of that. In Ericsson One, we focus on combining engineering and the knowledge that we have with the knowledge that we want to empower people all around the world with these types of solutions. I can't talk a lot about what the products and services are inside of us, but I can.
You won't tell anybody.
But I can say that, you know, if you have a company that touches 3.5 billion people daily with their technology, that's a great platform to build new sustainable products and services on.
So Stefan, what do you think? Is there any? What do you think about this sort of Swedish culture mindset in terms of innovation? What's your take?
I think getting back to the concept of sustainability, I think there are four main pillars that needs to support the aspects of getting there, and that is innovation, but it's also in the first place, I'd say purpose and innovation, and then there's performance and quality. All of those aspects being embraced by deliberate engineering and design is one of the key ingredients to create sustainability, whether it's now or 50 years ago or going forward. And based on what we just touched on as of before, with the ability, being developed throughout the past 120 years, I would say, without any flat organizations, the ability to speak out and interact is a unique combination. And I would say the aspect of the all man's right, being able to move freely in nature, it's really something that inspires
special
the whole
legislation
population.
where you can move across privately owned.
Yes, I think that is a
forests.
strong driver to how we kind of interact with each other and, with respect to the planet at large.
Yeah, interesting. So now we're talking a lot about this impact and sense of purpose, but you're also, you want to make your business successful in terms of money, right? So what are your objectives, Niklas, when it comes to the business?
When it comes to making money?
Yes.
We're pro making money.
Yes, you are?
Yes.
I'm glad to hear
Yes.
that. So there's not a conflict of interest here.
No complication. We're pro making money. No, we're pro making money, of course, but I think a qualifier to run a successful business today is that people want to be part of something great, and they want to be part of driving a positive change. A company is only the collective output of the individuals being employed in that company. So I think that having a clear purpose, in our case, a sustainability purpose, allows us to do good business. Also, I think if you look at our customers, the consumers of our services, of course, they're also pro making money. And I think that's sort of the win-win, that combining a good economic value proposition to customers, society, and employees, combined with this sustainability aspect, they will feed each other in a very positive way. So we're pro-making money on the condition that you can also fulfill a greater purpose.
So I know that both you guys at Einride and you guys at Cake, you're looking at America, you want to take on the US market. Why do you want to do that, Stefan?
From our perspective, it's the biggest market there is, as you know, defined as a country, and I think that there are strong similarities between certain segments within the American market that kind of reflects what we're trying to achieve here from a Scandinavian perspective, not at least when it comes to value-driven, propositions. And I would say that America, at times, is being considered a tough market to get into, but I would say it's just as easy to do business in Los Angeles as it would be in Borås. So there's no reason to hesitate. Get in there, do your thing, and they will listen.
And bring your lawyer.
Bring your lawyer. That's
Right.
that's the downside, I would say. It's complicated in that sense, but in terms of interacting with customers and consumers, it's a piece of cake.
But isn't it also that there's a culture?
Funny, by the way.
Yeah,
Piece of cake.
no one laughed.
I
No
laugh.
pun intended.
But isn't it also that we share, the US and Sweden shares cultural values, like the paid forward culture that has built all these great startups that
Yeah.
I will help you to introduce you to this lawyer. No, not the lawyer. But so I think there's a lot of in common between this small Nordic country and
Agree.
Getting back to sustainability a little bit more, Ariane. Do you think that Stockholm is a forerunner in terms of transport and sustainability, or do we have a lot to learn?
we always have a lot to learn, but I would say that we're front runner when it comes to thinking impact. And looking at the city of Stockholm, where we're the green capital in 2010 already, we were named the Smart City 2019 in Barcelona. So city-wise, we are the front runner. And the buses, because everybody says it takes so long time to do changes. But 2007, 8% of the buses ran on biogas. Now 100% of the public transportation of buses is on biogas. So I think there's a lot of things more to do, but I think we're walking quite fast as a city. And also looking at the urban planning, how people move. Most people don't have a car in Stockholm because you can use ferries or your bike or a cake or there's a different way of transporting yourself. And for us, it's normal not to have a car, but not in all the places on planet Earth.
Mm. And when it comes to the business goals, venture capital, looking at digitalization, automation, sustainability, do you agree? Or do you think there's a conflict of interests?
No,
driving sustainability, making money, to simplify.
Not at all. And I think that even the VCs are more interested in companies that has impact as a part of their business model. So we see, regular VCs investing more in impact, and we see actual VCs from abroad coming here to invest in the fantastic startups that we have that are trying to solve a global problem. Via their technical platform, or
so what is missing here, Jonas? Right, we're talking about all these fantastic innovations that are powered by connectivity and electricity. Where are they going to get all this juice from?
Well, in terms of the electric society, I think there's one part of that, which is about empowering the new infrastructure. That's if you're looking back into history, one of the reasons why Sweden is at the place we're at is because we built a communication infrastructure. We need to continue to do so, but we also need to continue to build a power grid. Those are the kind of aspects needed to, invent the companies and the solutions for maybe on a 5 to 10 year horizon. So that's one of the messages here. But I also do want to mention one other thing which I think is important here, and that's the aspect of diversity. because there are many ways of looking at sustainability. But one thing that Sweden has is that even though we're a small country, we have a very diverse population. And we have a lot of global relationships in that population. So for Ericsson One, for example, if you look at the targets that we have, it's not only, yes, we do build businesses, and we really focus on testing those businesses quickly, but we want to build businesses based on diversity and fostering or sort of enabling that. And that's something that I think is important for the Swedish sauce in this, but also important when we do build these new companies to enable that diversity that our society has.
Do you want to comment on that, Ariane?
No, but I totally agree. I mean, of the people working in the tech scene in Stockholm, we have a lot of people coming from abroad. And why is that? Because all of us are Swedes speaking English. I mean, it's quite easy to come to this country and work. And, 20% of the people working around in the city of Stockholm are in some way working in the tech sector. So you will have, a diverse population in the tech sector.
So to collaborate, you need to be able to communicate, which brings me to actually a question from the audience here. Thank you very much. I'll just throw it out here. So how can small companies better draw advantage from the large ones? And how can large companies better benefit from the small ones? All in all, how can we build an ecosystem that works even better together?
No, I can mention that a little bit. I mean, just taking our domain as an example. I mean, moving goods. It's a critical function in any type of society, the movement of goods. So of course you want to do that as efficient, as clean, and as sustainable as possible in every aspect. So, and I think what we do at Einride is that beyond the hardware aspect of what we do, the vehicles, we also do the freight mobility platform, the operating system to deploy this technology in an efficient way. You need to plan the transport, you need to execute the transport, you need to digitalize the logistics functions within the process itself. And we're able to do that with a fresh type of business model. So we don't have any legacy behind us. We can sort of do it the way we want to from the beginning.
But don't you do, the question is about collaborating.
Yeah, so my point is that being that layer in the freight industry, I mean, you still need plenty of vehicles physically moving the goods from A to B. So I think the great heritage that we have in a country like Sweden from strong engineering capabilities within the automotive industry, that won't be disrupted. I mean, vehicles will be needed. It's the deployment and the operation of this new technology at the scale. So there is definitely a coexistence, I think, in terms of engineering disciplines and engineering heritage. So, yeah, we're excited.
That's a good answer. Thank you so much. So I want to get back, Stefan, a little bit to what we were talking about earlier when it comes to being inclusive, because I kind of interpret your address here as Cake being a culture changer.
Maybe. I'd say that this is a motorcycling business not run by motorcycling people. We speak about what we're doing, that it's more Patagonia than Kawasaki. So we're not romancing the idea about, the easy rider kind of phenomenon. It's all about trying to capture the qualities of these vessels and to influence the users and the markets in what they do in terms of supporting the transition and to accelerate that going forward. So it's looking at transportation and being able to combine the aspects of excitement with responsibility in a new context. So it's definitely, I would say, a new breed of companies in the motorcycling space.
You've been talking a little bit about how you want to avoid the kind of macho aspect of motorcycling.
I do.
What do you mean?
No, but not bashing at the motorcycling space because I was a little shy.
You're going to get Hells Angels on your back.
Hi, guys.
No, but I was a little shy to address those guys initially. Actually, when we launched the first time was back at, it was in Denver at the Outdoor Retailer Show. Again, deliberate, just to, to reach out to the backcountry outdoor people, because that's where we kind of see the respect, the understanding, and what we're trying to do. But now I'd say that the strongest following is actually coming from traditional motorcyclists, the traditional motorcycling community. So getting back to your question, which was...
Including women.
Yes.
Do I have to spell it out?
And the beauty here is that I'm going to, I'm 25 seconds on that topic. The beauty here is that, thanks to the fact that this is a vehicle which is super light, it's silent, so it doesn't scare off people. You can get on it no matter what physical condition you'd be in. There's no clutching, there's no changing gears. So when I actually decided to start this business was when I had young women for the first time trying these bikes. And putting helmets and goggles and boots on and idling away really slowly. And then getting back to me 20 minutes later, like with the biggest smile on their faces saying, "Hey, Stefan, this is the most amazing thing I've done in my life." That's when I realized that this is flipping the whole space upside down. And it's such a beautiful opportunity for everyone to actually experience something which is silent, flying, and, respectful.
So, Niklas, I couldn't help noticing in your movie you had a female truck driver. Was that an actor or?
No, absolutely not. That's Linnea. She's a fantastic member of the Einride team, and I think diversity is a given. I mean, just in the same manner as impact, purpose is a given in order to build a business and attract great people, so is diversity. A cool fact is that when we are operating electric trucks in Sweden, together with Oatly in terms of sustainability-focused companies, more than half of the operators of those trucks are women.
Cool.
So yeah, that's also a very traditional type of industry or product, so we're happy about that.
So, Niklas or Jonas, without the infrastructure such as all these electricity cables and towers and all that, we will not be able to build all these roads and electrify all these vehicles. This has been a known fact for such a long time. Why is it not moving forward? I mean, I get the feeling it's slow. Am I right?
You need a business case. I mean, you truly need a business case, or you need a great experience. I mean, if we look at the more consumer type of products, when the business case is in place, that adoption will follow. But with that said, also building...
Don't we have these business cases in place?
Well, I mean...
You're changing the world here.
No, sure. I mean, maybe, but I mean, they haven't been, I think, as visible as they are now. And again, I mean, adopting new technology, if you take going electric for heavy-duty freight, if you take a diesel truck and you replace it with an electric truck, you're not going to get the economics out of it. You don't get the inefficiencies out. When you deploy it on a fleet level and you operate it and optimize it on a fleet level, that's when you get the business case. If the business case is in place, partners will follow. So we're sure of it. But in saying that, building a little bit upon the US as well, that when it comes to this high tech, when it automation, electric, we're falling behind a little bit in Sweden in terms of our engineering capabilities compared to Asian companies, compared to American companies.
Why is that? Why are we falling behind?
We have a great heritage of industrial engineering when it comes to new technology. I mean, to some extent, that legacy is holding us back.
I think there's an interesting connection here to our very strong environmental laws that we have in Sweden. They are actually, that's the law also making it hard to build all these towers for the transmission of electricity, because we have to save the frogs and the birds and the bees, which is also important. What's your take on this, Jonas?
I mean, to be honest, I'm not an expert on whether our laws on environment are holding us back from building this infrastructure. So I can't really say. That's not my expertise.
Let me ask you another
question. What I can say is that, apart from sound business cases, you need to be brave. and you need to be confident that you're building for a future of solutions. And that's what we've been in Sweden before. That when we build the infrastructure, when we equipped the country with home PCs, when we connected everyone to fiber and internet, before there was a business case, we were brave enough to do so.
I hear this tone of nostalgia in your voice. We were brave. Now we're not brave anymore?
Well, companies are, for sure.
But our politicians are
I'm
not.
not quite sure that our politicians, and we're not
she's working for the authority. She's not a politician.
I'm not going to point that way, but I do think there's something to the fact that we're a little bit sort of fat and happy with what we've built, and we're not brave enough to take that step and build for the future.
So, sorry to throw this ball at you, Ariane, but you are representing the public authority. So, will the next Spotify, will that be coming from China that has all the 5G development going on?
No, the next impact unicorn will come from Stockholm. And I hope it's going to be an impact unicorn before there's another unicorn. I mean, I'm happy for Northvolt and Epidemic Sound and so on. But yeah, I'm so much looking forward to see a unicorn that is solving one of the big global challenges and making money of it. Because it's, you know, there's a lot of people that think that I work as a social entrepreneur, so I'm not allowed to make money, that it's not good to make money. I mean, you should make money by doing good. And that's what the VCs are seeing. You know, they will even make more money in putting their money of something that makes a change. So, I mean, we have a fantastic food tech scene, for example, but we also have these small inventions called solvatten, which is, you know, it's not a big thing. It's kind of an easy thing, but there's a child every 15 seconds die because there's no pure water. This is something that solves their problem, and it's so easy. So I'm so much looking forward, the company that really makes the change for 1 billion people. And it's going to be from here. So the next unicorn might be from China first, but then the one that truly makes a difference will come from here.
So Stefan, can you tell us about what your e-bikes are doing in Africa?
Yeah, it's one of those projects that actually come to us, which is amazing. It's like science fiction, and it's happening now. We were approached by Southern African Wildlife College, and they're training anti-poachers, and they for a number of years have been using gasoline motorbikes. The problem with these bikes is the fact that they need to either truck in or fly in gasoline, you know, for the use of these bikes, which is, you know, terrible, of course. Then the next problem is that these poachers, they hear these combustion engine bikes 45 minutes away. So as the anti-poachers arrive, these guys, they've packed and left long ago. So efficiency is pretty low. So we get in contact with these people, and they have noticed us. And we're like, you know, this is interesting. And then we connect to a company in America named Goal Zero. And Goal Zero makes mobile solar power stations. So we've developed bikes to deal with the environment in Africa. It's, you know, dust, it's muddy, it's complicated in a number of ways. But being able to charge these bikes in the field without ever having to sap the grid. It's 2 standard solar panels, and then these are being used, 6 hours a day chasing these poachers without pretty much silently. So they sneak up on these poachers, solar powered, and efficiency is 100% better, or it's at least 2 times.
Have you seen this happening live?
It's happening now. And we're super patient about this project because we just delivered the first 2 bikes. There's going to be another 40 to 50 bikes in the next 12 to 18 months. And it's going to be a long and painful learning process because we're going to run into issues down there. It's 50 degrees centigrade in the shade at times. And we're going to have a number. But it's going to be interesting because this is a transparent project. It's being pretty much broadcasted live throughout this process, getting to the point where we can make a difference.
Wonderful. Being eco-friendly and saving wildlife at the same time. So thank you all for joining us and our talk about Stockholm, Sweden as an innovation hub. We can agree on that, can we? Right? Swedish high-tech ecosystem and the planet's ecosystem and how we meet the challenges ahead. So any more questions from the audience, you can actually put them live. We're going to continue talking about these questions in a few minutes on Clubhouse. So please drop into the room that's scheduled now in a few minutes, I believe. The Swedish Tech Wonder, I believe it's the title of the room, and we have some of the panelists answering your questions right there. So thanks for tonight. See you later.